All right, everybody, welcome to a special October edition of the Leptos Meetup. I don't know if we should call these even Leptos Meetups anymore. We kind of just do them periodically, sporadically when it seems appropriate. And there was some chatter on the Discord about doing something because we've got a lot of ecosystem updates. And so to try and keep the streams within an hour to 2 hours, we don't want to let too many things build up. Schedule a meetup now. And so we've got actually a pretty awesome stream for you tonight. I'm super stoked about it myself personally. There's a couple things that we've been waiting for to announce that have kind of been going on in the background. That's super exciting with Mukesh, namely with a project he's been working on. He's also the creator of leptos-use, the author of leptos-use, and has a bunch of updates around that as well. He'll be actually closing out the stream tonight because I think he's got quite a bit to update us on. Just before Mukesh, Tim is going to be doing a demo as well as providing some updates with his two libraries, Leptos Styling and Leptos WebSockets. Tim was actually on stream last September, so it's awesome to see him back with some more updates. And we've got a first timer for the stream. Adam has created a new component library called SingleStage UI. So this is the second component library that I would regard as being very viable and very mature. Of course, we've got Thaw UI, which is kind of a fan favorite of Leptos, but I think we have another one, which is also very exciting, called SingleStage UI. And so we'll go ahead and start off with Adam. So Adam, I'll go ahead and bring you on stage. And yeah, if you want to introduce us to SingleStage UI and kind of give us the backstory about it. And if you have a demo, I don't know if you have a demo. I didn't even ask that, but if you have a demo, you
I
can
have a
share a
quick
demo as
demo.
well, or you can just talk about it. Yeah.
All right. Hello world. I'm Adam. I made SingleStage. It's not quite a port of shadcn, but it's pretty similar. Shadcn, radix type of. It's actually closest to. There's a project called Basecoat, which basically takes the shadcn out of React, and you can put that into any website. So I put it into a Leptos library. I'll try to share my stuff here.
Just while you're doing that, out of curiosity, where did you come up with the name SingleStage? What's the backstory there?
Oh, so Basecoat. Um, so I'm an auto mechanic, I guess, by trade to give me, well, now I'm programming, so I guess I do a lot of things, but base coat is like when you're painting, you paint the base coat, which is like the first step, and then you come back with the clear coat, which like makes it all shiny and nice. So I was like, I took base coat and then added reactivity, and you just throw it into Leptos in one shot. So that's where base coat came
Cool.
from.
That's cool. Right
The
on. That's awesome.
and the logo for it is a paint gun.
Oh, cool.
This thing. So actually, since I'm here, this is what it looks
It
like.
makes so much more sense now. Yeah. I just for some reason I was thinking in my mind, I was thinking single stage was a reference to like rocketry or something. Like
I was thinking that
like
too. I was
rocket
like, I wonder
stage.
if anyone's gonna
Yeah.
understand what this means.
Yeah, no, I totally got that wrong.
Um, so yeah, this is if you've ever seen base coat, it looks really probably too similar. It's got all the stuff you would want. Well, most of the stuff you would want in a component library. There's still more stuff coming. This is probably like almost 30 components. But
Yeah.
a quick little demo here, I guess. And I have two things that to kind of work against me, which is one, I'm using Firefox, which is kind of like the new Internet Explorer. If you're familiar with web dev, Firefox is kind of the one that has the most issues with compatibility, I guess. Chrome is kind of the leader in new CSS features, if you're not familiar. And then I'm also using server-side rendering, which traditionally is kind of the tough one, especially for theming and having things flash on load and stuff. So yeah, basically I started with the start Axum template and added single stage. See, there's no funny business here. I just dropped the minors off the version numbers, and then single stage 0.3. That's the current version. So Yeah, I'll show you how easy it is, I guess, to get started. So you just use SingleStage. We'll import everything. And then to add the theme provider, I usually wrap the router. I don't think it, oops. I don't think it really matters where you put it. Typically I wrap the router. You basically just want to wrap whatever you use. And some of my testing, your own style sheet should be outside the theme provider, but sometimes it also seems to work inside. So sometimes there's conflict. So when in doubt, just leave it outside. But see, the first thing you'll notice here, the styling's all gone. Oh boy, of course there's an error. Typical live demo action.
Yeah, it's not a demo if something, if everything goes right.
This just worked minutes ago. Well, that's awesome. Hydration error.
Really quick, while you're figuring that out, I just thought I'd quickly mention, so the links for all the repos today, including SingleStage, is in the YouTube description, but I'll drop it in the chat as well right now. While you figure that out. And yeah, hydration errors are always fun.
Well, it's proof that it's live.
Yeah.
I don't know if this doesn't work. Maybe I'll bail. I'll put this on GitHub
Yeah.
anyway, but we'll see if the rebuild does it. I don't really have too much to show, but if it doesn't
Yeah,
work, it
no
doesn't work.
worries. Cool. You got some love on the name, by the way. People like it.
Nice. So people do get it. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Our glorious compile times with Rust. Does this work? Oh, well, I can show this at least. The like I was saying, dark mode immediately worked because that's my setting in my browser. And see, it's
Yeah.
reactive to the browser. I can toggle my browser setting, and I would reload it, but it's offline now. But
And help me understand, I've been living in vanilla CSS world for, I don't know, it's real funny. Like, you know, I I think it's always good to kind of like start on the basic web platform, right? Before you start layering in any sort of like tooling and libraries and stuff like this, right? So I was all excited about Tailwind when I first got my hands on it, and I used it for a little while. And I felt like it destroyed my understanding of the DOM. Not that it destroyed my understanding of the DOM, but after a while, I felt like I never really had a good, strong mental command of what was going on with the styling in my DOM. And so I went back to vanilla CSS and was just using plain CSS for a while, just straight up like nothing. And I actually really enjoyed it. But then began to kind of realize again some of the virtues of like Tailwind again. So now I'm going to use your library actually. On something I'm working on here very soon, and I'm actually kind of excited about like reapproaching Tailwind again. And so one thing I was actually wanted to ask you, which I'm kind of curious. So this theming, is it just color theming, or does it also apply to? Can you do like global theming for things like rounded corners and things like this as well, or
you
is it
can.
just color theming? Yeah.
Well, it's both. You can add basically whatever you want
Okay, that's what I
to the
thought. That's what I
CSS.
thought. Yeah.
So here's some color examples, And I have a couple layouts down here. One is mono. See, it changes, it makes something square, like these
Cool.
buttons here. I don't know if you can see it
Yeah.
changes the,
Yeah. Okay. Now I see it.
well, I scaled it, so now it doesn't work. It's responsive to the screen. So here's a scaled mode, which kind of condenses everything.
Mhm.
And then the mono changes the text to monospace, makes things a little boxier.
Yeah.
So you can
Very
add,
cool.
I don't have much, I don't have many examples there, but you can add basically whatever you want. Right now, it's a little cumbersome because I kind of want to see how people use it. So when you define a new theme, um, I'll show the theme in a second. Let me up. So one of the things I really want is you just have this button here, right? So this is basically Tailwind. It applied Tailwind, so it wiped all the styles, and all you have is basically a responsive dark mode. So now say you already have, maybe if you already have a project and you want to switch it to single stage, you basically just title case all your stuff. So here will be our button, and the button just turns into a single stage button. All the attributes are the same. You don't have to do like adder, whatever, everywhere. I can't type. But so here's where your theme thing comes in. In the theme provider, you can just type theme equals, let's say amber, because it's kind of automny.
Oh, that's
And that's
very cool.
that.
Yeah.
So this theme here, it just outputs a string. So you can define your own themes. You make a big ugly string for now. But like I said, when I see how people use it, I'm gonna try to make it nicer. You'll do like theme new or whatever, and then you pass it like a list of colors, or somehow I'm gonna make it not so you write a big CSS string in Rust, which has like your IDE won't really know it's CSS, so you kind of just you're on your own for, well, I think this will work.
Yeah.
So another thing that I like to make easy is so we can do a slider here, and then basically things that wouldn't normally have children, you can just give it a string. Like slider is let's say count. It'll automatically make a title for it. So see, there's a title here above the count, and it's not hooked up
Cool.
yet.
Yeah.
But if we do want to hook it up, I try to make it intuitive. Just value equals count, and the count or the slider only takes a float. So I'll just change these to floats. Let's see, now our count is attached to the slider.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
very,
wow. That's awesome, man.
very HTML-like. Add a separator. And another thing I wanted to show real quick is another part of the theme mode is right now there's 3 settings. Right now it's on auto. So if I toggle my own setting in the browser, it goes back and forth. But we can also go back up here and do mode equals, say, light. Let that compile. And now see it's stuck on light mode. Well, actually, we'll remove this. We'll add a range group, not a range group, radio group. And then radio group is secretly a field set, so we can give it a legend. So, all right, theme mode. Radio, do auto. See, again, very HTML-like. Just give it a string slice. You don't have to do like toString or whatever. So here's our theme mode, and it has no value, which is also represented here. Just point that out. the value equals theme mode. We'll go up here and make the signal. It's going to be auto. This is where it has to be a string, because it is secretly a string underneath. Sorry, I'm quiet now. We lost a little time. Now I'm trying to make up
Oh, no,
for
no, no.
it.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Theme provider context. So the theme provider context, basically up here where I did mode briefly, and then I did, actually I can, this is where you set the defaults. So mode auto. There's a theme provider context. These are only, like, if you change these reactively, it won't update anything. This is just for setting. I mean, I can make that a feature if anyone wants, but I think it's easier to use the context. But basically, context just provides theme mode and the theme for basically everything, all of its children. So in this case, the router. So the entire app basically can access theme provider context. And then, so we'll make an effect. If I could type, it's a typical live demo.
Mm-hmm.
So theme context. What is, oh. So yeah, we're basically updating live that value I sent. See, non-reactive light, non-reactive dark, back to auto. It works on auto. So the reason this works, I'm not sure why I didn't highlight, but whatever. But the reason this works is because the theme mode is secretly in enum, however you say that, underneath, but can also easily go back and forth to a string. So basically, where the radio group updates the string in theme mode, the signal, we're basically just taking this string, and then this into turns it into the enum, which is the theme mode, which I think, yeah, it won't give me any types, but trust me, it's an enum. I made it.
Trust me,
But,
bro. Continue now.
yeah, trust me, bro. Unsafe mode. So
Yeah.
basically, the other benefit you get from this is, one, for this effect, I didn't have to match and everything and then manually convert it to an enum. But the other thing the other place that's really nice is if you're working with cookies, you can just easily, you take it from the provider, throw it into a cookie, and then get your cookie back. It's a string, convert it, just dump it right to the theme provider. It'll convert it for you. And yeah, that's basically all I got.
And so it works with CSR, SSR, and I presume also islands mode.
Ooh, I haven't actually, there's no reason it shouldn't work. I
That's what
haven't
I was
actually
thinking
tested
too.
islands,
Yeah.
but I tested CSR and SSR, and it should just work. It's basically just CSS. And
Yeah.
the way that I do the CSS, I kind of just add it globally, inject it straight, like theme provider just injects it straight into the header based on your theme and stuff. It might update it. Actually, I could show you.
Well,
Actually, there's two. I'm glad you asked. So here's the big ugly main style. It's minified CSS. I could probably turn this into a file and attach it, maybe, but particularly if you're not doing a static render, it should only send it once. So like for caching and stuff, the benefit of a file, unless you're doing static rendering, I don't think it's as huge of a benefit. Then in the body, this is where the theme lives because the theme actually changes.
Mhm.
So you light theme, there's basically nothing. For dark theme, it basically overrides everything. If you don't do it that way, then like the button, is this button? Yeah, see how the button, I don't know if you can see this or not, but the button is a slightly different color for light and dark mode. But if you base that off the,
Yeah,
if you base that on the media query, even if you force dark mode, but you change your browser setting, you'll still get that slight color change. So there's a lot of nuance and annoying little things that I've discovered that I didn't know about until I started this. But that's one of
for
them,
sure.
and it works. If you find more, please let me know.
And also, just if anybody's curious, it's got all the it's ARIA compliant. It's got all the all the bells and whistles there. Modern web standard, accessibility, ARIA compliant, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I tried to do that, and actually, I forgot to mention since you mentioned that the like the alert for example, not the alert, the accordion. Um, the there's a details and summary de details and summary elements that actually like there's no Rust code involved in this. It's all the browser. That's a new feature that just came out like last summer, I think. And then some other places I try to use a lot of stuff like that too. I try to do ARIA stuff like the sidebar. There's a lot of like
Yeah,
this is a header, the header tag. It makes things nicer for screen readers.
yeah,
I could probably have even better support. So if you're into that, like you use a screen reader or you test for that, and you find anything lacking, please let me know about it because that's all kind of new to me. I'm trying to make
yeah,
an effort to make it work and make it nice, but there's like I'm also trying to build the whole rest of it and make that work too. So
yeah,
that's the
totally.
part I might be falling short. I do want to support it.
Yeah, yeah. There's all kinds of accessibility stuff that people aren't even aware of. It's hard to know it all. I actually did a like for work. I had to do a WCAG web. What is it? Web content accessibility guidelines. I think is what it's called, what it stands for. We did like a 2-day workshop on it, and there's a lot of stuff that I had never even heard of before in that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah,
And there's even stuff that comes out and then something else comes out and everyone decides, "Oh, this is better now.
yeah,
We're going to
yeah,
use this instead."
yeah, totally. I mean, the
Another
thing
thing
is,
like
if you try to stick to the web standard, just like you're doing, like when when new things for HTML and CSS come out, just adopting that, I think it's like the 80% rule. You know, if you just try to stick to the web standards, you're pretty much
yeah,
a
you can
lot of the
really
way
do a lot
there.
of it too.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot this whole dialogue, this popover and everything, this is all HTML.
Hmm.
There's a new API for it. I think it's a popover. The popover might be for the drop down. But
Yeah.
yeah, the browsers can do a lot now.
Yeah.
So that's like this entire demo site is I mean, it's not great. Where is it? Ah, this small screen is killing me. Anyway, it's just over 3 MB, the WASM binary, which is not great. That's kind of I'm trying to cover the whole like for a button, the way that I mentioned you don't have to write like adder everywhere to use things because I always thought that was kind of messy. Like some say one component allows you to define a class and it has a class property, you just type class. But then another component, you try to use that, and then it's like you write class and try to add your class, and it's like, oh, class doesn't exist. So this one's now adder class. And you have to kind of keep in your head like these ones use adder, these ones don't. This implements this, this doesn't. I'm trying to just avoid all of that. So there are no adders except for ARIA stuff because you can't have a hyphen
Yeah.
or data because you can just do data dash anything that's like infinite possibilities. There's no way to implement that. But um,
Well, we have a couple people are super excited about it. One person in the chat says it looks really good. Another person says it looks easy to use. We got somebody that's asking if you're using Omarchy.
Oh no, actually, funny story about that. It's basically the same thing. I love DHH. I saw that Omarchy came out like 2 weeks after I did this, which I find great. Also, I noticed Primogen has a similar setup too. We all did it basically like the same month. It's funny,
Yeah.
similar minds. He's always doing
Yeah.
stuff that it's like I'll have an idea, and then like he'll do it. And no, we don't talk. It's just I
That's
love
funny, man.
DHH.
Yeah.
We share a lot of
Yeah,
opinions.
but you got a comfy looking setup there, man.
Yeah. Oh, that's on the GitHub too. It's called Bream. Try it out if you
Oh,
want.
nice.
It's a
Cool.
little less polished than SingleStage.
Somebody's asking your window manager. It looks like Hyperland, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's Hyperland.
Yep. I'm
Cool.
totally into. I'm that guy.
Yeah.
You can see I'm
Yeah,
even in the basement running
I even
Arch.
saw that, man. Yeah. I was gonna say something when you joined, but I was like, I don't know Adam that well. I'm not gonna make a joke about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's all right.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. The same thing for feedback. If anyone has any feedback, even negative, let me know. I want to hear it. It'll make the product better. I'm not going to take it
Cool.
personal.
Cool. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much, Adam. I appreciate it. Everybody, check out SingleStage. The link is in the chat. Feel free to, Adam's on Discord, so feel free to drop by the library channel on the Leptos Discord. And so, yeah, thanks again, Adam, so much for joining. You're welcome to hang out with us. And I'll go ahead and bring you on, Tim. So for those of you who don't remember, Tim joined us last September. He presented to us Leptos WebSockets, which is a pretty cool demo. He's gonna today. I think you have some updates with Leptos WebSockets, also Leptos styling, and I think you have a demo as well. Is that correct, Tim?
Yes.
All right, cool. Well, welcome. And I see you're already sharing your screen, so I'll go ahead and add that and go ahead and
Okay.
take it over.
Good. So as some of you may remember, I made Leptos WebSocket. Leptos WebSocket, as the name suggests, is for WebSockets. And the library has read-only signals, so you can only write on the server and receive on the client. Then you can also have bidirectional signals that are writable on client and on the server. And the nice thing is with these signals, they automatically synchronize between server and client. And I also added the channel signal. So the bidirectional signal and channel signal are pretty new. So still a bit of experimental, but they should work, hopefully. And yeah, I created a small demo. Some of you may, if you are interested, could join on this link. I may just, can I copy? No, okay. Could you be so kind and copy it in, Luke? And if you can type it, but
Yeah,
so
I can.
thanks. So this is a small demo that should showcase, as the name suggests, a chat, and you can just easily sign up. So right now I'm logged in as my user, but normally you are not logged in, so you can register, for example, and then I can do some random password, and yeah, so now I'm signed in. I get custom profile picture from RoboHash, and now I can go to the chat page, and right here there's no chats, but on the other client that's in Firefox, I have a chat window right here. So I can just open this right here. So I can get a join code. I can then copy it into my other account that I just created. And when I join, it's there, and you see some messages that were written. And the chat is a bit experimental, so there may be some problems, but nothing major, hopefully. And now I could just write a simple text.
Yeah, I'm trying to log in right now. I think I just like created a profile. Now I'm trying to log in. Yeah, you have to like create an account, right? Is that right?
Yeah. You go on register, and then you can just choose a random username, random password, and then it should automatically log you in when you are done with that. And then you should be able to go to chat, and then you could copy this join code. Maybe I just copy it into the private chat.
I can't get past the login, to be honest.
Oh.
Let me do register. Oh, I know what the problem is.
Someone
Okay,
already
hold on.
joined.
No, it's me.
Yeah. So, and now you can write there. So, as you can see, there's a bit of a problem with the names, so it's not correctly showing up. I didn't try it out with more people, but now people can write in here. So I can also say, say stuff, say stuff to the other people. But
Wait, hold on.
it's a bit experimental. Maybe my
I'm like
the
kid in class that's like all behind all the other students right now, and I don't know where I am. Okay, hold on. I think I'm trying to like join a chat. Is that what I should be doing?
Yeah, you go to chat, and then you have here the groups. Then you can go on the plus. There you can select join, and then you can copy the code I opened right here.
Okay, there we go. Got it. I see it now. Okay. How do I get the code to? Okay, hold on. Do you want me to paste the code like into the chat for everybody?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay.
Oh, really? The thing is, I'm not sure, because for some it's showing, but when there is multiple people writing behind each other, I think it's not showing up the usernames correctly. But, well, I made this example with Leptos WebSocket. So you can have WebSockets that send messages. They are done with the channel signals. And then you can, then you have the styling that's done with Leptos styling. And I just want to show a bit of the code from both of them. So I just write something, I guess. So now I'm done with the demo. Or I just show a bit of the code, I mean. But I think I can just keep it open next to it, so you can still see a bit of it. So most of the code I have in the chat right here. So I created my own components. For example, the cards, card header, etc. And here's the bidirectional signal. I have in there the readers and writers, so you can see who is looking, who's writing, and stuff like that. And then it's just normal getting, reading, and in this case, looking for the duration to filter who's no longer active and who is active. And then there's also right here, here's the setting of if I'm writing or not. So right now I see it's mostly working when someone is writing, but when you are writing, it detects it and just sets it like a normal signal on the client, and then it gets transferred to the server, and the server just retransmits it to all the other clients. And that works pretty fast, I think. And I used right here this chat styles module, and that one is created with Leptos styling. So you can see it right here. And I just use here a macro where I give it the module name, what should the styles be named. Then I give it a path to the files, in this case, the SCSS file. And then I just give it a name. And then it uses they do exist. They are saved also in a database. So I have SQLite in the background running, so they are also saved there. And yeah, so the styles are then getting run or compiled by Turf. Turf is a CSS styling library, and then they get well created and collected with the inventory macro, like server functions. And then you have in your I think it is right here. And then you have somewhere at the top of your app, you have the style sheets where you just give it a base URL. And on the server, it generates the files. And on the clients, it gets the files. So for each of those files, when I look into the networking, you can see that there's multiple CSS files that are getting fetched. So for example, the header CSS, group CSS, etc., they are all getting fetched. So you have separate CSS files generated on the server and then getting collected on the client. But when you're on CSR mode, they get all compiled and run on the client. So you don't need to have them on the server. And most of this works completely automatically. So you just have this style sheets right here. Then you may need to have in your front end create, you may need to have the init inventory or something like that. I'm not sure anymore. Yeah, you have the init. That's for inventory, because on WebAssembly it works a bit strange sometimes. And then you just do on the server, you just generate the files. Should be somewhere around here. So you have generate style sheets command that you run on the server before you start the server. And it just generates all the files that it recognizes already compiled. So the SCSS is getting compiled to CSS. And the nice thing is with this library, you just have then this class styles thing, and you can just select a random class that you created, and it just has this lookup right here. So they are getting hashed. So you don't have collisions. And the really nice thing is with this code is that you can use it in component libraries without much to do. So the client usually only needs to also do the style sheets and stuff like that. So on the official example, I put here an example crate that just has also the same style sheet stuff. And I just export them right here. And on the cargo toml, I just use it like normally. In this case, CSR, but it's not needed normally. And then you can just use it like a normal crate somewhere, those components, and it works without problem. And it automatically generates the CSS files for all the component libraries you may need. And so if there are any questions about Leptos styling, I'm happy to answer some of those. And if not, I may go to Leptos WebSockets.
I'm going to solicit for questions now. Why don't we go ahead and move on to Leptos WebSockets?
Okay. So previously I explained that there's different signal types, so like the read-only signal, bidirectional signal, and the channel signals. They are pretty easily done because before I showcased the bidirectional signal, it's just like a normal signal that you create. You just give it a name. In this case, it's the group ID minus activity. So you also have the activity identifier behind there. So you may have activity mouse sync or whatever. So you can have synchronized mouses. And then you give it a default value or an already created value. And it just generates it on the server and also on the client. And then it automatically builds a connection between server and client and just transfers all the changes. So you can do whatever you want. It uses JSON patch. So you need to have the structs that you send be serializable and deserializable, but if they do have this, it should not be too hard to work with them. And then there's also the channel signal. As you can guess, channel signal is pretty similar to normal Rust channels. So you have on client and on server function. Normally, I put the on server function behind the feature flag for SSR, but you could also work without. And in this case, I just on client, I get messages from the server, and I just, in this case, create these chat messages. I put the text, time, sender, whatever in there, and they simply work. And I may need to look. And in the server function right here, I just have a normal lookup for it again. So I just create it like normal, this channel signal right here. I hope you can read it. And you just give it again this enum that you use, and you can just send message, and then it automatically sends the message from the client to the server. And in this case, the client handles it and showcases our chat messages. And the server could also, for example, handle stuff, so you can have it both ways. Normally, I'm not a big fan of having it both ways because I think the server functions are already pretty great with Leptos, so it's normally not really needed. But for fast and real-time applications, it may be useful for some. And you can also add authentication checks, whatever you want in this on server function, and it should work like normal. It's just a normal Leptos server function behind all the abstractions. So right now it's just, as I said, a normal server function. It's annotated with the WebSocket serialization, I think. And it's just pretty normal. You can use context, extract state, and whatever you may need on the server, and it works without problem. So you can do pretty hardcore stuff. And yeah, I think that should be it. So there's still
Interesting. So
small...
it's broadcasting. It's just broadcasting it out to the clients from the server, just using server functions. Is that?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
or is it the other way around?
So yeah, the clients connect to the server via WebSocket server functions, and then they publish to the channels. So I may just take a look right here. So here's the WebSocket. It just connects to it, says it wants to listen to the channel right here, and also on the bidirectional signal activity. Then it gets the established responses, and then you can just use it like normal. And in this case, there's nothing said. I think I could write something. So you can see that I get from the server, I get a new message. That's from myself, and with text and time. And it works like this. So the bidirectional signals work pretty similarly, but they use JSON patch under all of it. So
yeah,
it
I was going to
uses
say so, but
patches.
under the hood, it's just using the server function, which
Yeah.
at the end of the day is actually just HTTP protocol.
Yeah.
Just yeah, cool.
There's still a minor problem with reconnects and a bit of auto disconnects after a few minutes or something like that. So I may need to investigate those, but else it works pretty well, I would say, yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Do you know if it's being used in production at this point anywhere, or maybe you are?
I did use it for a few of my projects, but nothing really production grade. But I used it for a synchronization on a Raspberry Pi where I read digital inputs and stuff like that and just synchronized it to the UI in real time.
Yeah. Very
But
cool.
nothing in production. Yeah.
Well, if anybody out there is using this in production, let us know. That would be interesting to know.
Yeah, and what I also want to say is if someone uses it and you hit any issues or whatever, or you have any features that you want to get added, just open an issue on GitHub. I'm happy for everyone that uses it. And yeah, I hope someone gets use out of it.
For sure. And if anybody has any questions, post your questions now in the chat. I'm going to gather up the links. I put them in the YouTube description, but let me go gather up these links. And then I think Mukesh, if you're ready, I think we'll bring you on here in just a minute or two after we do this. I want to give people a second or two to ask any questions that they might have. Here we go.
So yeah, under the links should be also the demo. So if someone is interested, you could look at the demo. There's a simple authentication running and could be useful for some of your projects. Also, if you use Leptos WebSockets or Leptos styling. I have to admit that Leptos styling is used in production, but Leptos WebSocket right now, not really.
Okay, cool. But would you say it's production ready?
Yeah. So Leptos WebSockets is pretty production ready, but there's still a few minor issues that need to get ironed out. But I would recommend everyone to try it out.
So it's maybe production ready, but caveat emptor. Let the buyer beware.
Yeah.
All right.
If some people try it out, maybe then it's production ready, but there could always be a bit of stuff hiding behind lots of levels of abstraction. So could be. And previously I used Leptos users use WebSocket. So now I switched to this Leptos server functions. That's pretty recently. So I may have some problems there, like I said, with the reconnects and stuff like that. So I may need to talk with Ben or another contributor to maybe iron it out with the reconnects.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I noticed when I was playing with it a couple minutes ago, it seemed like I needed to do like a page refresh to get some of the messages to come through. So, but I mean, it's still, it's
I mean, the
very
demo,
cool,
I only finished like half an hour before, so the demo is really rushed.
Yeah, and demos are like, I don't know, demos are hard. It's hard to like make a good demo. Yeah. So, okay, cool. Well, then I think I'll go ahead and bring Mukesh on. Tim, like Adam, you're welcome to hang out. If you need to bounce, you can too. But hey, thank you so much for joining, and super excited to see Leptos WebSockets and Leptos styling continue to grow. And if anybody has any issues, again, you can find Tim on Discord in the library channel. So again, thanks for joining us, Tim.
Thanks.
All right. So, Mukesh, it's been a while. How's it going, man?
It's been a while. Good, thanks. I think it's been more than a year since I last came on.
I think so. I think the last time you came on was you came to the first like couple of meetups, which has been crazy, but it's been a year and a half now.
Right.
Yeah. So, but you're no stranger to the community. You're always in Discord. You're always pushing updates and doing the Lord's work there in the library channel with leptos-use and many of the other things that you're working on. So I think I speak for a lot of people here when I say that, we're all very appreciative of the work that you do and very curious to know, the updates that you have today.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, my team and we have been working on something quite exciting. I'm going to share my screen here.
Yep.
Okay. You should be able to see my screen. Yes. Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
And I'd like to start with Oxide Cloud. So as the name suggests, this is a cloud service specifically tailored to Leptos apps, right? The tagline is effortlessly deploy Leptos apps and support the community. And that's the idea here, right? You can easily deploy your Leptos app in a cloud environment. And at the same time, with this, you support us for developing the ecosystem or our little part of the ecosystem. And also, we are committed to donating 10% of our profits back to the Leptos ecosystem, like the Leptos project itself and other maybe libraries that are essential. Yeah, basically the idea is like together we want to make the ecosystem last and great, right? Yeah, I'd like to give a little demo. So we are currently preparing for the closed beta. We've been working hard in the background, and these days we should actually start with the closed beta. It's going to be only a few people in the beginning, and then more and more are going to be brought in before we open it up to everybody. So I'd like to risk it and actually do a little demo. So let's see if this goes well.
Well, I think we're like 1 for 2 on demos tonight. So yeah.
Demos is always
although Adam pulled it out and he fixed it on the fly, which is like
he did. Yeah.
Impressive.
Totally. So I'm gonna create a new app here, right? And then you enter a unique slug. Yeah, I'm gonna do my demo app. You can also change the name if you want to, and then we create the app, and then we are inside this app overview. I'm going to connect it to GitHub, right? So going to connect this little demo app that I've prepared, and then you can here choose if you want to automatically deploy it every time something is pushed to this branch, to this main branch, and we're going to accept it in this case. And now it's connected. You can edit variables like environment variables, right? Let's do that. Like, I don't know, some var and some value, right? We want to use it while building and also while running it. Create the variable, and now I start manually a build, right? So this is the build. It's now starting, and obviously since this is Rust, this is going to take a few minutes. I'm not going to wait around for this. Like here, it is starting compiling now, and you can see this all here in real time streaming. And we're not going to wait for it. It's going to take like 5 minutes or something. I have prepared beforehand another, I named it the app that I built earlier. And this is already built, right? It has already a deployment here, and you can see the log. It succeeded. You can see the log while running, right? So nothing is logged here, it's just listening. And here in the overview, you can see it's now hosted at this hostname, right? This includes the app slug. So if I go there, you can see this is just like the template here. And it does work. Okay. And that's it. It's quite easy, I hope. And we are excited to let people try it out.
I have a couple of questions, if that's all right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So you and I talked a little bit about this just in a we had a very quick back and forth in a private chat a while ago. And I think back then you were focused on CSR. So what's the status of that today? Are you right now still focused on CSR, or can you also deploy SSR with this and islands, and where do we stand with all that?
It's actually the other way around. It's only SSR right now.
Okay, got it.
I mean, CSR is rather trivial to add. We're certainly going to do that, right? Because CSR, there's basically nothing that needs to run on the server. You just need to serve the files, and that's it, right? So That's also why we didn't focus on it, because like you can go on Netlify or something, right, and just upload your build files that you have built with trunk, and then that's it already, right? So there's not much more convenience, I guess, we could add there. But certainly we will support it in the future, just for completeness sake. But this is focused on server-side rendering, and yeah, lets you easily build these apps with Cargo Leptos, and then it just works.
Okay, cool. And how can people sign up today? Just go to oxide.cloud?
Excellent question. At the moment, I mean, you can click this, but you won't be able to sign in at the moment because it's still a closed beta. You can click request beta access. We have already quite a few awaiting access. And then, right, you can simply enter your email. You will get a confirmation email that you have to confirm. And then you will be in our list, and we will contact you as soon as we are ready to let you in. Yeah. At the same time, if you sign up now, we promise you will get some kind of benefit, some kind of bonus once we release like paid tiers.
Cool. And okay, so actually, yeah, you pretty much answered all the questions. Have you guys decided on a pricing scheme yet? Is that something that you're prepared to talk about at this moment in time, or is that still kind of where do you stand on that?
Yeah, we are still discussing that internally. It's not so easy. It's certainly going to be comparable with other cloud offerings, right? So we're gonna get inspired by that for sure. But yeah, we want to try to make it as affordable as possible, and basically our costs with a little bit of markup, right? And that's it.
Yeah. I think what's interesting about this though is just the performance, just the memory efficiency and everything of Rust. It'll be interesting to see how much more economical a Rust-focused platform is over something like a Vercel that's focused on running, like Next.js. It'll be really interesting to see how that pans out.
That's totally true. You can get these things running on very simple hardware, and they run quite fast. The only thing that is expensive is building, right? So that is probably going to be the cost bottleneck for us. If you build an app, then as you all know, right, it takes time. It takes a lot of compute power, and once it's built, it's fine,
yeah.
right? But
interesting. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, you're right. Huh. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So everybody go check out Oxide. That's super exciting. I'm over here living the VPS world, and I was just watching you do that, and I was just like, oh man. It's like I pride myself on running my own, knowing my system and running my own VPS and everything. And I was just watching you do that, and I was like, okay, actually, that looks pretty nice. I mean, I've messed around with Vercel and stuff in the past, but I don't know, something about that looked really nice and makes me want to use it. So
that's awesome. Obviously, it's not going to fit everybody's use case, right? But the idea is to be able to fit most people's use cases. So it's like a general purpose tool. But obviously, there will always be some kind of deployments that are so special that it makes sense to have your own VPS or whatever, right?
yeah, sure. Yeah. Mine's not that special. Mine's a web app. Yeah. So cool. All right. Well then, yeah, everybody check out Oxide. The link is in the chat. Oxide.cloud. Go sign up for the beta access. As Mukesh mentioned, 10% of the profits goes back to the Leptos community. So yeah, you're supporting Leptos, you're supporting the ecosystem. So that's super exciting. I was, already a year ago, I was wondering who was going to do this, and you're totally the right person to do this. So that's really awesome, Mukesh. Cool. And then I think you had some updates for us with leptos-use. Is that right?
Yes, actually, quite a few crates. I mean, it's been more than a year, right? As we talked. So my team and I, we have come across various use cases that we thought others could benefit from too. And so I'd like to start with something fun, and that is Leptos Baby Canvas. As the name says, right, the idea is you have your Leptos app, and then you want to integrate some part of it a Bevy app, right? Like some 3D part or whatever, some graphics part. And this crate allows you makes it easy to communicate between the two, right? So I have set up another demo here. And yeah, you can see this is like the red part, right? Obviously, this is the Bevy part in 3D, and this is purely Leptos. And so here in Bevy, you can click and select one of these cubes, right? And you can see in real time on the right-hand side, the Leptos part updates and vice versa, right? If I go here and want to change the color of this or want to change the rotation speed, I can do so, and it will all update in real time. And the way this is implemented is actually rather simple. So in this case, I'm just gonna glance over it. This assumes that you have a little bit of knowledge of Bevy. So these cubes, right? You can query them in Bevy, and so this is to synchronize this query with Bevy signals. So you get a selected, which is sort of a read-write signal, a Leptos read-write signal, and then this part you pass into Bevy, and you create it with this single query signal. And this part here is basically the Bevy query, right? These are all Bevy components, and you select the one, that's what the single stands for, right? The single one entity that complies with this query, right? And whatever change you make to these components in Bevy will be reflected in the selected signal, and also all changes that you make to the selected signal on the Leptos part will be reflected back into Bevy, right? So the selected signal, right, you can use it just like normal, just like a read-write signal in Leptos. And in an effect here, right, we just read it and log it. There's a derived signal from it, and then also later in a component down here, right, this is the color selector. You can see it's just using the selected thing and reads the color out of it, right, and vice versa. On input, it writes it back. Yeah, so this is the Leptos part is quite normal. And then you have this Bevy canvas component. This is actually going to be the canvas where Bevy runs in. And here you pass in the Bevy app. Yeah, we initialize this Bevy app, and we pass in this duplex, right? I'm going to go to the Bevy app now. So this is this. And here we have this duplex. And there's some helper function that you create a normal Bevy app. This is just normal Bevy code, and you just add that, right? Sync Leptos signal with query, and you pass in this duplex, and that takes care of this synchronization. Yeah, and that's it, right? Yeah, so if there are any questions, I mean, I guess I'm going to go on, right? And if there are any questions, you just interrupt me, or yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, just real quick, Nikesh. I'm just actually curious, like what sort of a use case did you build this for? I mean, did you have a project that you needed to build this for? And I asked this specifically because I'm planning on using it for something that I'm working on myself. And I was just kind of curious to know the backstory behind developing this.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, we are actually developing a jewelry designer. It's like rings, right? And you can enter text and choose designs for doing this, and then it would, and the UI is built in Leptos, and then the preview rendering part is built in Bevy.
Cool. I think the really cool thing about this is, you have like Bevy with eGUI, right? I think a lot of the people that they want to build UIs with Bevy, and so they'll use like eGUI. I think there's even a very primitive sort of Bevy UI crate. But the problem that you run into there is all kinds of accessibility issues. And there basically is no accessibility. And I think this is a really...
I think they are actually, like, now slowly they're building out their UI ecosystem. And if I have this right, they also are like looking at accessibility. I don't know how much that is going to be reflected in a web app, right? That's a different story. Yeah, but yeah, to me at least, this UI that exists currently in Bevy is not yet on par with like the convenience of Leptos and the web and what it all provides.
Definitely. So I think this is really cool because it gives you the best of both worlds. Like you can basically take Leptos and insert into a Leptos context, you know, 3-dimensional rendering. It's really sick. I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
But also enjoy the benefits of the web platform. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally. And yeah, the idea, and that was like, for on the one hand, it made it easier to create this crate. On the other hand, I think it's actually an implementation benefit. This lets you use normal Leptos code and normal Bevy code, right? There's no abstraction layer over Bevy or something like that, like you get, for example, with React Fiber, right, which kind of abstracts away like the underlying 3JS stuff for React. But in this case, you just write a basically normal Bevy app, and you write a normal Leptos app, and you have this little bit of glue code that lets you easily communicate between these two.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't see any questions in the chat. We got a quiet chat today. I don't know what the deal is. People need to pipe up and ask some questions. But yeah, if you wanna go on.
Yeah, I'm going to continue, and if there are questions from other segments, I'm happy to pause and go back.
Yeah.
So now we actually come to Leptos use. As you can imagine, in like 1.5 years, there's been quite a lot. I'm not going to go over all the changes. That's would be quite cumbersome. You can look at a changelog, right? There's always the up-to-date changelog. I want to highlight maybe one function that we created that I personally like very much, and this is this use calendar. And this is like a demo application of it, a little demo calendar app, component, sorry. And yeah, it works as you expect. And this is just a hook to make it easy to create components like this, right? I don't know if you've ever used like component libraries that are calendars. In my case, whenever I use them, most of the time I wanted some extra functionality, right? I wanted something that was not there and was difficult to do. At the same time, the logic is quite nice, right? To have these numbers, and the different months are different, right? Different numbers, and have it lined up all like that. That's not trivial at all. So this makes it easy to roll your own custom component, which gives you just this hook, use calendar, and you get all of these signals, and you can iterate through them and use basically simple for components, for loops to create components like this, right?
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, awesome. That's it already for Leptos use, right? If there are no more questions, I'm gonna continue.
Yep, go ahead.
And that is Leptos pagination. I actually was thinking about adding that to Leptos use, but it's I think it's a bit too big in scope. It's not a big thing, but because it introduces some kind of traits, some kind of abstractions, I thought it might be better to have it separately. And again, a little demo here. So this shows like 5, right, of these entries, but there are a lot of pages, as you can see, and it makes it really easy to only show part of the data. It gives you these buttons, right, to navigate, and also these pages, which are kind of like intelligent, which do like merging of ranges, right, and all this stuff, which is pretty standard. But yeah, if you want to implement it yourself, it's not difficult. It's just cumbersome, right? So that's why this exists. And to use it is very, very simple. You create a pagination state. This is used to communicate between the different components, right? If I press next and pref, this thing needs to know what happened, right? What to display. The same goes for this page list. And this does it, right? You get the pagination state, and then you simply use a paginated for, which is very similar, like a normal for component, a Leptos for component. You put in whatever you want to repeat, right? You put in your state that you initialized. You say how many items you want to display, and you have an optional query in case you want to filter or sort or whatever, right? This is going to get passed on to the loading part of the data, and that's that, right? You pass in a loader that you also have to implement, of course, right? In this case, we pass in our book loader, and this is implemented down here. In this case, this is the most simple implementation. Obviously, there are also this is like the memory loader trait, but there are also traits for loading data from data sources, right? From REST APIs or whatever, or from server functions. And it always needs kind of two items, two functions. The thing that actually loads the items and how many there are, right? It needs to know both of these things. The load item gets in a range, which is the part that's going to be in memory. And then also a query, right? In this case, we don't use it. And in this case, it's very simple because we just have a static array that we index. Yeah, but obviously here you would call your REST API, right? Yeah, and then this just shows it, and it handles internal caching, right? So it caches data and all that. And then to use the buttons, the navigation, you have this pagination previous button, this pagination next button, and you simply pass in the state. And this is totally headless, right? So you have to pass in some styling, whatever you want. In this case, I use Tailwind. And also then the pagination pages, which is at this part here on the right. And again, you pass in the state, and you have some classes that you can pass to the different components, right? This whole thing is an ul, and the individual parts are lease, and so yeah, right. You can pass in all these classes. Yeah, and that's it already, right? The idea here was to abstract away the logic that already exists in Leptos struct table, which has pagination or virtualization logic already implemented, and I'm now slowly like extracting that out, and that's the pagination part. That's basically done, and sometime soon I'm gonna also put the virtualization part in there, right? So you have like a scroll, but it only shows you the visible items. Yeah. Questions?
Yeah, we have a couple questions actually. Let's see. So I'll actually, let me take that off, and then I'll actually, never mind. I'll leave it on there. So this first one, actually, I just put it up on the stream. So Tim asks about Leptos Bevy Canvas. So how's the compile time and storage size there?
Well, yeah, it's what you expect. It's not that bad. I think the compile times. There are some stuff here that you can do that also the Bevy handbook mentions, right? How you can speed up compile times for Bevy. So it's a normal project, right? So it's a normal project. But then, of course, like obviously the binary size is going to increase. Bevy is not small in binary sizes. What I haven't tried yet is to use the new code splitting stuff that Leptos gives, right? That could be something. If you have this app only on some routes and not others, then you might want to split this off, lazy load it, and that might make a separate binary. I suspect that's going to work. I haven't tried it yet though. That's that. But yeah, surely it's a big load, yeah.
Yeah, and the Bevy docs, they go through a few strategies to deal with compile times.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tim also asks, and also someone else in the chat also backs this up, says, please create a virtualization library. That's one of the biggest pain points for me right now with Leptos. Virtualization is really important for most projects.
Totally. Yeah. That's absolutely the idea. And it's going to use the same kind of loading and caching stuff, right? So that's kind of its own crate, and it's going to share that. So it shouldn't be too crazy to implement virtualization now. But yeah, whenever I get around to it, I'm going to do it. I can't promise anything at the moment when I'm going to have the time, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So are there any more updates that you have?
There's one final thing.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
And it is Leptos Ecosystem socket. So this has quite a bit of overlap with the Leptos WebSocket from Tim. I think I published this like a week before he came out with his changes to his to his WebSockets. So it's a bit of a different take, and it only works on Exum. That's just the only thing that we use, and yeah, I didn't have the bandwidth to implement this for Actix as well. Yeah, so I guess I'm also gonna have a closer look again at the changes that Tim made. So this might be obsolete, but maybe not, right? It provides a bit of a different interface. I also have a chat as a demo, but this is way simpler than what Tim showed. This is only running locally, so you're not going to be able to connect to it online. So let's give me some user here, Makesh, and then this is going to be whatever, and we're going to connect to general both, right? And then, yeah, it's gonna go. Yeah, I mean, what to expect, right? Yeah, and the way this works is a little bit different from how this WebSocket signals work from Tim. So you have to provide the socket context, and in this case with query, that's like some query that you can provide to the API endpoint that initializes the WebSocket. In this case, it gets the user ID, right, to do some authentication. And then in your chat component, you're getting actually that socket context, right? You get that. And here you can subscribe to that. And it uses some generic chat key. So you can have different kind of channels, and it automatically creates a new channel for different types, right? So I have, in this case, I only have the chat message with the chat key, but you could have other things like a toast or whatever, which has a toast key and a toast message or whatever. And that would be totally separate, right? Automatically, it detects that. And here you subscribe to the chat key, and this is just a callback that we subscribe it to, right? So there's no signals here, it's just callbacks. And on the other hand, whenever you press submit, then you can use the socket to send something, right? Yeah, and that's that, right? It is, I guess it has overlap, but it's also a bit different from Leptos WebSockets.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim actually says you pushed him to upgrade Leptos WebSockets. He had a lot to do and forgot about the changes he wanted to make.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and he already checked that out a bit, and he likes the syntax. So,
yeah, who knows? Maybe at some point in the future we're gonna put our heads together or whatever, right? To
for sure.
make, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So is that it, Makesh?
That's it, finally.
I mean, not as if that's it, you know, coming out with just so many awesome things. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I want to finally remember everybody to check out Oxide Cloud. And yeah, that's everything.
Yeah. I think I'm on the beta waitlist too.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to use it. Like I as soon as I'm able to, I'm going to definitely use it. What's the deal with like databases? Like, do y'all have any opinion on how you're going to deal with database connections or anything like that?
Yes, at the moment, you're going to have to use a third-party provider. Just any kind of database cloud provider, whatever you can use, and you can connect. In the future, we are going to offer Postgres, maybe Surreal as well. We'll see. What you already can use is SQLite, obviously, right? It's just a file.
Yeah, you know, Surreal runs in embedded mode too, just like SQLite.
True. Yeah.
I'm doing that right now. Actually, one of the things I wanted to do for this meetup, but I just didn't have a chance is I have a Yeah, I have like a little repo that I've made, and it's like SurrealDB. It's all the sign in, sign out, complete auth endpoints, password reset. You can literally just clone it locally and run it. And as long as you have an email provider hooked up for the password reset, it's a completely fully functioning database with authentication and everything running in embedded mode with
Very cool.
SurrealDB. Yeah. So it's
Well,
very clean, but you also run into stuff with, I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience like running embedded databases. So, with dealing with migration, doing database migrations and stuff like that, that you don't really, I don't know. SurrealDB also has a really nice tool called Surrealist that allows you to edit, which you can't really use if you're running in embedded mode.
yeah.
Because you've got to have a separate process for that. So at least as far as I'm aware, yeah.
You might be able to use Surrealist. I think there's an example in the Surreal repo where they show it how to create the API endpoints or something with Exo or something like that. And with this, so if you publish it yourself, basically, right, then you might be able to connect from Surrealist. I haven't tried it, but it might be possible.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I haven't looked into that. Yeah. Yeah, that would be, I actually thought about reaching out to the team over at SurrealDB, and that'd be an interesting crossover to do some sort of like SurrealDB Leptos, repo. I don't know. I think that would be kind of cool, but yeah. So, yeah, cool. Well, hey, thank you so much, Mukesh. I'll
Thanks
be
for having me.
eagerly awaiting data access to Oxide Cloud. Yeah, so I'll take you off stream. And just want to say thanks again to Adam, to Tim, to Mukesh for all their hard work, all the stuff they do for the community. It's so amazing to see people after these past few years contributing, and nothing has slowed down. I mean, everybody is charging forward. It's really awesome. And of course, a big thanks, big shout out to Greg and Ben as always. And yeah, I think maybe we'll try and put together one more stream before the end of the year. I got to talk to Greg and Ben about that. Maybe we do another holiday stream. That would be really cool, like we did last year. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, if you aren't a member or you haven't joined the Discord server, it's in the description for the video for the stream. So be sure to join us on Discord. You can find us all there, ask questions. Everybody's super helpful, super friendly in the Discord channel. So with that, I will bid everybody farewell until the next stream. Take care.